Time for another mayoral visit, this time Charlie Lombardi.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
So we had a kind of a roundtable of visits to mayors going on there for a while, and then just too many things went on. And so we're going to continue it on and off and just trying to check in with municipal leaders. And there's nobody who's going to give you a straighter answer than Charlie Lombardi in North Providence, the now longtime mayor there, one of my favorite people in politics and in life. There's nobody that will stir the pot for reasons that are mostly right. I'm not sure his tactics are always perfect, but he's a guy that kind of speaks his mind and knows how to pull a punch too, rather than just throw a punch. And by the way, he does every once in a while carry a little car wax but you have to know that story to understand it. Anyway, we'll get to Charlie in just a second because we're just going to kind of ramble on a couple of things. There's a tentative agreement with municipal employees at Town Hall, but there's a nuance to it, and I think some good governing going on with that conversation. But Charlie's had some thoughts on just the progressive Democratic challenge, so we'll get some of his views on that. In the meantime, just real quick, the Trump 2020 budget headline here is interesting in that there's $8 billion for the wall in it. Now, your fiscal year may start January 1st. The state's fiscal year starts July 1st, but the federal government's fiscal year starts October 1st, and that is when we have another shutdown deadline. So this whole movie is going to play out all over again because there's no way in God's green earth the Democrats are going to be given $8 billion for the wall continuation. Now that's about the kind of money he's trying to rake from all sorts of existing budgets right now, and that is going to be something that the Senate in the majority will vote down, and then he will veto and they will have to override. So it'll end up a court case because litigation will ensue, and I don't know what the progress of that court case will be by the time October 1st rolls around, but this wall thing, which really became all of this from a random campaign idea by his guys to say, hey, what kind of a thing can you latch onto? There's no philosophy here, but so many people have let this runaway train go, and he's just watching it ride. Headline here is really interesting on the press. Alabama continue to pray for the more than 24 people that lost their lives in a tornado. Mother Nature is brutal sometimes, and there's no way to be nonchalant about this. But as he visits, he signs the Bibles. I know that the Trump stuff comes so much in Fast and Furious that there's just kind of like a regular built-in discount for his whole thing. And the people who follow him. And I say follow him because when you have the President of the United States signing the covers of Bibles, like, oh, sure, you got a Bible? As if he's Jesus Christ. Does anybody think, wait a second, something's really wrong here? Now, presidents have signed Bibles before. Open the Bible and may God bless you, blah, 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 and keep you well, But first of all, I don't even know what that thing is. That thing he does, that signature, which is just this and this and this and this. But over the Bible, nobody wants to go to the point where they want to call it sacrilege. And I don't understand what the Christian right thinks when they acknowledge that as something that is normal. It's not. But it feeds into this kind of Jonestownian type of God thing. And I just don't know that enough people in America are poised enough to just say, wait a second, that's not right. We're mixing politics and religion in an inverted fashion. You know, our politics were advised for such a long time by religious thought by many, right? Now, our religious thought is being moved by the politics. Wow. In the meantime, There's a thought on that kind of intersects. Political Scene put this headline in the Providence Journal today on the abortion rights bill that passes the House and has not yet been introduced in the Senate for formal vote. Steve Frias, the Republican state representative candidate who ran against Speaker Mattiello in District 15, is quoted in this story saying something pretty smart. He talked about the Catholic Church and its lack of foundational, my words, foundational impact on this abortion vote, this codification of Roe v. Wade. And I think he's got a point. He talks about the defense the churches had to make now for a couple of decades on pedophilia, and that the church's substantial place with 2 feet on the ground, able to advise and really move the electorate specifically, and politicians and elected officials secondarily, has waned. And I think he's right. And I think it's just a part of the challenge for the Catholic Church to nurse this thing back into some kind of a better place. And I think it's a long haul, as long a haul or longer than the damage that was done. And as a practicing Catholic, I feel it, I understand it, I pray about it, and I have to tell you, I don't know if and when the Catholic Church ever comes back to have the pronounced type of impact that it has had in the past. We will see. In the meantime, I'm going to ask the mayor about this. Not that it's his purview necessarily. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you.
Thanks for the invitation.
If you were a legislator, how would you have voted on that bill?
I would have voted no.
Because?
Just a practicing Catholic, like you just said, and I just believe in the right to life, and I think this isn't needed. I don't think there's a problem right now, and I would have voted no.
Meaning Roe v. Wade is not in jeopardy. Does the state have to have concurrent legislation? Do you understand the argument by the pro-choice advocates who think that better be prepared? Or do you think there's more to it? Do you think there's a bigger agenda in play here?
I think there's a bigger agenda. That's only my opinion, but again, I would have voted no.
Does it? But well, as a Catholic, I didn't bring you here to talk about the church, Mayor. But do you feel the same thing I do? I think that comment about the struggling church, it's lost its traction. And the politics in religion mix has always been an interesting combination. The church and state arguments are really not. Church and state arguments are really to protect religion from politics. But religion and faith has always advised people's thoughts and their politics. Church is rattled and doesn't have the same juice right now.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's their own fault, where they should have addressed some of these issues. But again, I would have voted no.
Okay. That's not the basis for the invitation. But this headline on progressives that we ran in 2018 here in the Providence Journal published is the fun conversation that I had with you. I want to talk about some of the town issues as well. I know you got a new contract pending with municipal police, and it's got a different twist to it. But you've expressed to me some concerns about the, right now in the Democratic Party and this progressive movement. It's not your style at this point.
No.
What do you think is going on here right now?
Well, I just think that the $64,000 question is and I keep saying these are feel good, these are sound good, and in my opinion, most of them are no good ideas, because someone needs to pay, and who's going to pay? People are working, coming from the business sector. We have roughly 40 employees in our business, 72 years of success. We got people who have been there 42 years, 37 years, 33 years, 28 years, and I could keep going, Dan. We know how to take care of our employees. They know how to take care of me. But
for those of you who don't know, Charlie's run a dry cleaning business for a long, long
72,
time.
well,
full disclosure, I am a customer. No starch, because they come out pretty tight without the starch. God knows, I ordered them with starch one. I swear to God, I thought I was walking in a box.
He's lucky I don't wear his size. But in any case, Dan, I don't think any small business person, especially a small business person, needs anyone downtown or any progressive to tell them how they should be managing or running their business. We've had this conversation before. All I can say is thank God that Aaron Rubenberg did not win that election.
Are you ever going to call him by its name properly?
Well,
It's Regenberg.
oh, Regenberg, I apologize, Mr. Regenberg. But thank God that Dan McKee won that race, because in my opinion, you know how friendly I am with Dan. I think he is the salvation for this state. Comes from a business enjoying 100 years of success. Fixed a broken down town such as we did in North Providence. Cumberland's a great town now because of Dan McKee. He can hit the ground running.
Well, that sounds like an endorsement for an election to come, which is quite a far away. But I want to break down a little bit of this looks good, sounds good, no good philosophy. Then we'll check into some of the progress in North Providence. Be right back. So this conversation about kind of the split in the Democratic Party, I think, is fascinating. I want to talk about the challenge the mayor has with the firefighter union asking for a raise based on some operational moves he's made and a pending deal for the municipal employees in North Providence. And although, listen, there's so many towns within the size of the viewership of this program, the specificity about deals in North Providence can serve as a template. It's not that you guys are worrying about it. So we'll talk about that in our next segment. In the meantime, this float for Dan McKee in the future and that kind of a thing, listen, we just got over a general statewide election. The years seem to go by faster and faster, but there's still plenty of time for that. Are you suggesting right now that the Democratic Party, well, what are you suggesting? Is the clear philosophical crevice that exists right now in the Democratic Party going to grow? Are you worried about that? And things becoming more expensive in this state?
Yes.
Elaborate.
I think the Democratic Party needs to return to their democratic roots, so to say. And I don't think that this movement, whether you want to call it a progressive movement, is the best thing for anyone in the state. I think people need to know that, you want to live comfortably, you need to work. And I think for people to be at the State House and want those individuals that are not working to enjoy the same amenities as those people that are working hard, i.e., the people that work for me, Dan, pressing those shirts, eating steam all day long on a 95-degree day, making, $15, $16 an hour. They're working very, very hard. And it's tough to get people to come in even at that price because they make it too easy for them to stay home and collect. And that's the issue you're fighting. You can stay home and maybe get $12 an hour, and now you go get a $10 an hour cash job. And they say to me, who needs you? And
are you worried if we jump this? Well, we're going to go to $11, and then we're going to be on a pace to 2023 to be $15 an hour, and then hopefully they're going to index it. I mean, I just don't see how anybody's going to be able to fight this.
So what's the answer, Dan? Raise the prices. So how much can they charge you to press this shirt?
Well, my point is your wages then in your shop are going to go. They're going to go higher.
And who's going to pay? You or anyone that services with me. So where are we going with this? And then that, or that individual that you're so concerned with, that's pressing hard to make way for his family, so to say, loses his job. You go into the Cumberland Farm store now, you punch into the machine. Where are they going with this? You're going to cause people jobs as opposed to help them.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the automation and the technology industry and all the things, I mean, checking out at Target, checking out at Cumberland Farms, checking out at Stop and Shop, whatever it happens to be, they're now in a collective bargaining battle, the Stop and Shop employees, something we probably ought to follow up on now that dawns on me. They can be two different conversations, but the upward pressure on wages is something that is a national conversation. Our neighbors in Massachusetts are leading the way, and for some reason, while we don't ever want to have a better tax rate than Massachusetts, we seem to want to chase their tail when it comes to the expense side, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And the solution is going to come if and when, or at all.
Stay tuned. It's dangerous. It's serious, and it's just a matter of the small businesses being able to keep up.
Governor Raimondo's economic plan is to give a lot of money away to target big business to come in. You on that thought process?
I think we need to do whatever we can to attract business into the state of Rhode Island, into our communities. But I personally feel, yes, we love to have big business, but I personally feel that small business is a salvation for the state.
Well, Coolidge said the business of America is business, and he wasn't thinking about big business when he said it. Instead, it seems like we're just going to try to stream more dough off our compelling behavior. I won't call it our sinful behavior. Marijuana legislation, by the way, is coming our way. What do you think about this? And by the way, would you have one of these facilities on Mineral Spring Avenue somewhere?
No.
No?
And I don't think marijuana.
You'd have to put it up to a vote, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I don't think marijuana is the answer. I mean, what are we talking? We're talking about maybe $10 million. Is that the answer? And you know, for the law enforcement,
10 million in total take for the state.
Yeah, right. And the law enforcement agencies having their hands full. My question would be, and we've talked about this through some of our, mayors, managers, administrators. I mean, how do we handle a DPW worker that is now driving one of our trucks in a snowstorm, and all of a sudden he's smoking marijuana? So do you get together with the union? Does the union say now, oh, excuse me, okay, yes, you got him, but now you got to put him into a program for 10 weeks?
Johnston Mayor Joe Policino asked the same question when he was here a little while back, but what's the difference between that and drinking a few beers before they get in a truck?
You drink a few beers, he's going home. But if they legalize the marijuana, and now it's another agreement that you have to make for the employee to be protected, so to say. And where I come from, you're going home.
So you're worried that the collective bargaining momentum is always to kind of actually foresee what problem the employee can get into and then write protection in there so that your administrative and disciplinary hands are tied behind your back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're already dealing with an abundance of that right now.
Yeah, all right, so let's get back to that. When we come back, we'll hear what the abundance is, because these are lessons to be learned well past the boundaries of North Providence. Stay with us. And so some of the challenges that you continually have, listen, I think every taxpayer, you are not a flawless human being. You've made some mistakes, I'm sure, in office. I'm sure you admit to that. But the truth is that you have been a soldier for the taxpayer and trying the best you can, even though you've had to borrow money to get out of trouble. I mean, everyday citizens have got to borrow money to get out of trouble every once in a while to try to put their house back in order, right?
But we paid that back 4 years early. We have a AA bond rating now. We have about $13 million in the bank. When we came here, Dan, we were borrowing $10.5 million for cash flow, and we were one step above junk bond.
No, you've done it. But it doesn't mean that the pressure's not on you. This firefighter demand, what is this? They're looking for a raise because you shut down an engine.
So
what happened?
So the rule of thumb is, 80% of our demand for emergency service is rescue.
Okay.
So we knew we needed an additional rescue truck put into service.
Okay.
We had two, we needed a third truck. So when I started to analyze what's going on and the number of calls, the trucks we had, the rule of thumb is you hire 8 new firefighters to man this truck. 4 shifts, 2 guys. And then you buy a new truck. It's about a $680,000 to $700,000 tab.
Are we talking about a fire truck or
a rescue truck?
A rescue truck.
It's $200,000. You hire 8 guys at roughly 55, 60, well, $680,000. And now I identified then that we had a pumper that we could do away with. 80% of the calls are rescue calls.
Wasn't getting a lot of action. Gotcha.
So we shut the truck down. And I redeployed that manpower to man the rescue truck.
And they're all trained in that?
They're hired as a cardiac and you're hired as a firefighter. This is what's really going up my backside right now.
Does that mean EMT too?
Yes, EMTC. So we now are manning the third rescue. 606 calls last year. We couldn't answer the bell because our 2 trucks were out. So we had to call out of town help. We all help each other. But 606 calls last year took us 10 to maybe 15 minutes longer to get a rescue truck to one of our constituents' homes. I didn't like that. So now we put the truck in service. Firefighters now come back and say, if you want to do this, you got to give us another 3% raise for hazardous duty pay. So I said, let me see if I got this right. You're going to be coming off of an engine company, you're going to be riding a rescue truck, and it's more hazardous. What's really bothering me through this, Dan, let me tell you the contract, the last two contracts.
I only got a couple minutes. I want to ask you about the municipal, so tell me what's bothering you.
Firefighters got the last contract 3, 3, and 3. This new contract, and they're in the first year of it, is another 3, and next year is 3.5 and 3.5. When you compound that in 6 years, it's 21%. What else do you want? And when you got hired as an EMT, and you got hired as a firefighter. And there was no guarantee as to how many calls you were going to answer. I can't wait to debate this with them. Because you want to talk about being a hog? That's being a hog. And when 27% of our firefighters were paid over $100,000 last year. So we're going to get it on, but in the meantime, we're taking care of taxpayers.
When will that be decided, or when does that process begin?
I hope
You're in a contract right now.
Yeah, this is in the middle of the contract. They want another 3.
Okay. You have a pending deal with municipal employees, real quick?
Yes, we do.
There's a special nuance to what you put in there.
Yes, that's been lagging for about 2 years because I demanded that they allow me to put into the contract that for anyone to be promoted, you're going to be promoted on your qualifications, not solely on seniority. Took 2 years for them to agree. I had sent a letter to all the employees. The union then took me to Labor Relations Board. Another
For what,
joke.
meddling? For meddling?
They said, yeah, I sent it. I said, well, this is a letter you should have sent to your brothers and sisters. Why did I have to do this? To let them know what's going on. Let them vote on the contract. They wouldn't let them vote on the contract because they knew the employees would have took the raise. And it's a healthy raise, by the way.
What'd
They're
they
good
get?
people.
What'd you give them?
5, 5, and 5.
Okay.
That's not happening. So I know I got the support
But
of the rank and
promotions are
file.
based on merit.
Merit.
And you set up a system for that?
Yes, and that's where I come from. Imagine in my business, you give someone more money and the guy next to him is pressing more pants than him. What message do you send?
As I said, some of these conversations are a template for the state. By the way, short answer, how many other communities right now are giving raises based on merit?
None. That's why they didn't want to sign it with me. Now that locks them in to everyone else.
There you go. Mayor, good visit. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Make some notes. Final word when we come back. What the mayor was saying is that now that he has set a precedent that merit would be a basis for a promotion rather than seniority being a basis for promotion, then other communities can look at the basis for promotion in North Providence and simply say, there's the precedent, it's being done there, why not start here? This is how things change and cultures finally get kind of realigned. A healthy raise, a healthy responsibility, a healthy process for evaluation, kind of like a business. That ought to be the business of Rhode Island. See you on the radio at 3 on WPRO tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.